harassing the police every single day.
State attorney used Hendry County officer as witness despite him being on a non-credible list. Devon Patel, Naples Daily News, published 5 a.m. Eastern Time, November 22, 2019. An officer fired from the Fort Myers Police Department and linked to its prostitution scandal is not the first Brady cop the Hendry County Sheriff's Office has hired. Captain Donald Weathers' misdeeds included untruthfulness and failing to deactivate and disclose a video drug buy in which a criminal informant performed a sex act on a man later arrested on different drug charges, his internal affairs report stated. But before Weathers was hired, the sheriff's office hired Lieutenant Michael Rowan, another Brady cop or officer whose credibility is so tarnished that a state attorney's office has said he will not be used as a witness in criminal proceedings. The Brady nomer stems from the Supreme Court's 1963 decision in the Brady v. Maryland case, which established that prosecutors were required to disclose any exculpatory evidence, including evidence that would impeach a witness. The State Attorney's Office of the 10th Judicial Circuit disqualified Rowan in 2011 while he was Chief of Police for the Avon Park Police Department. Despite questions about his credibility, his law enforcement career did not end there. Nor did his appearances in court. More, police officer who had video of FMPD captain went from Brady list to Hendry County Sheriff's Office. Hendry County court records show Rowan has been called as a witness in criminal proceedings by the State Attorney's Office for the 20th Judicial District, including during a recent jury trial of Carlton Rush on felony drug charges. Submitted. Photo. Minutes from the jury trial of Carlton Rush show Lieutenant Michael Rowan, who cannot testify in the 10th Judicial Circuit, was called to testify by local prosecutors. Rowan, who was a lieutenant with the Clewiston Police Department at the time of the arrest, participated in a 2017 undercover operation that yielded 6 drug charges against Rush. The State Attorney's Office for the 20th Judicial Circuit did not respond to questions about honoring Brady letters, which outline credibility issues, from other offices or the decision to use Rowan as a witness. Rowan letter by Devon Patel on Scribd. Communications Director Samantha Sion said her office requested Rowan's letter from the 10th Judicial Circuit after the Naples Daily News inquired about his use as a witness. She did not respond whether the state attorney's office was unaware of Rowan's past before the Daily News provided a copy of the letter it received through a public records request. While Sion did not respond as to whether Rowan's credibility issues, which constitute Brady material, were disclosed during discovery, Rush's attorney, Adam Oesterban, said he was unaware. Discovery is the process in which both legal sides must disclose evidence or information that will be introduced into the case. This is very pertinent information in the Rush case, as this officer was the foremost cause of conviction, Oesterban wrote to the Daily News. Thank you for informing me of this and I intend to act on this information immediately. Prosecutors are required to disclose exculpatory evidence to the defense, including knowing of information that could be used to impeach a witness. Oesterban said he would be reaching out to the state attorney's office and, depending on its response, would file a motion for a mistrial. More, Marco Island Brady cop removed from police force, offered civilian employment. John Chambliss, communications coordinator for the 10th Judicial Circuit, said Rowan's Brady letter is still in effect. He declined to discuss Rowan's use, stating it would be inappropriate to comment on a prosecution of a case in another circuit. Questions about Rowan's credibility rose in April 2011, according to a letter from then interim city manager Julian De Leon outlining 4 reasons for disciplinary action. Subscribe today. Help support local journalism by becoming a subscriber. Learn more. Rowan was accused of making inappropriate recordings, and when asked if he had any involving city officials or employees, De Leon stated Rowan's responses were untruthful and insubordinate. De Leon wrote Rowan had expressed his displeasure about the city council's decision to revisit his employment contract, which included threats about having 9 inches of paperwork and recordings that would lock everyone up. Rowan did file a complaint against elected officials, including allegations of the open meetings law violations and falsifying documents, but an investigator from the state attorney's office found no wrongdoing. After De Leon provided Rowan with a memo outlining employment expectations, he wrote Rowan ordered a police employee to wipe his computer's hard drive. The destruction of data was discovered by the Polk County Sheriff's Office's computer forensics staff. Then State Attorney Jerry Hill issued his letter to Rowan on August 25, 2011. During the course of that investigation, we discovered a pattern of conduct on your part that I find troubling, Hill wrote. Standing in isolation, the incidents that investigator, Michael, Ivancevic details would be a cause for concern. Taken in their totality, they rise to a level that this office cannot ignore. Rowan was fired in October 2011 and was unsuccessful in appealing his termination. More, State Attorney's Office declined to prosecute multiple Marco Island criminal charges last month due to Brady Cop. While Avon Park submitted an affidavit of separation to the Florida's Criminal Justice Standards and Training Commission, the reason for his departure was coded as administrative termination not involving misconduct. 6 months after Rowan was terminated, he landed at the Clewiston Police Department, where he was employed for nearly 5 years before his position was axed because of budget constraints, records show. 2 weeks later, he joined the Hendry County Sheriff's Office. Rowan joins Weathers as a Brady cop currently employed by the Hendry County Sheriff's Office in supervisory positions. Weathers was hired last year after investigators at the Criminal Justice Standards and Training Commission determined it could not act on allegations of perjury while he was employed as a detective with the Fort Myers Police Department. His failure to disclose the information resulted in the vacation of a 5-year sentence handed out as part of a heroin sale conviction and impacted several other cases. In the past 3 years, the Hendry County Sheriff's Office has also seen 2 now former deputies disqualified from testifying. Robert Archer received his letter after being charged with perjury and contempt of court in response to filing an untruthful probable cause affidavit, according to records from the state attorney's office. While he received a favorable verdict on the perjury charge, Archer was convicted of contempt of court and sentenced to 6 months probation. Jermaine Garcia was added to the list of discredited cops earlier this year after he claimed to have made an arrest when it was done so by a bail bondsman impersonating an officer, records from the state attorney's office show. An internal affairs investigation sustained 5 policy violations including truthfulness, untruthfulness in proceedings or reports, falsification of official documents, perjury in official proceedings, conduct unbecoming. Garcia pleaded guilty to criminal charges and received 3 years of state probation, according to Hendry County court records.
Being in a rural county, you kind of know everybody in the county. So as a sheriff in law enforcement, I deal with people one-on-one a lot more than, say, a sheriff from a large county would. So they call on me personally more times than not. Hendry County is probably one of the forgotten treasures in Florida. We're very rural, beautiful county. We're made up of about 39,000 people. Highly agricultural, a lot of cows, a lot of farming. We're kind of the still very southern, a lot of southern hospitality in Hendry County, which is what I like, makes it great as far as the working aspect there. Growing up as a young man, as a teenager in South Florida, of course, you run across deputies in your life, traffic stops and whatnot, and I've seen both. I've seen deputies that are really pleasant to be around. They do their job, but they're still pleasant. I've seen deputies in the past that have done their job, but they're not so pleasant. So one of the things that I've learned in my lifetime as a deputy, as a law enforcement officer, is you can do the same job, but you can do it with respect, and you can be courteous to people. And I found that that goes a lot farther with citizens than, you know, trying to be overly strict or even rude in some cases. So, you know, I talk to my deputies, and one thing I tell them is, I want you to do the best job that you possibly can, but I want you to be respectful and courteous with everyone you meet, you know, until it's time not to be. So that's the route that I like to take, and I like my deputies to take. Before I was sheriff, I really didn't have I didn't really have an idea what the Sheriff's Association was in Florida, but I tell you, since I've become sheriff, I've learned literally it's the greatest organization around. The camaraderie, the cooperation amongst all sheriffs is more than I could ever ask or dream of. And, you know, a simple phone call for assistance, for help, it's there. There's no questions asked, and it's reciprocal on my part. So I'm just very impressed with the Florida Sheriff's Association and the strength of it, and the brotherhood and the camaraderie.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH. I am using any video here with under fair use. If you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.